stop me because I am transgendered. So, and is that what we're talking about, Kirby?
That is, and let me just add something because
you're
just
going to
said
add something to that?
Oh, no.
Because you said something that is also part of at least the bill in Massachusetts, and that is the teacher can't stop you. The teacher can't say anything against you. And that's what they wanted to do in Massachusetts, expand this to the public at large, so that if you even said, wait a minute, you're not allowed to go in there, that alone could cause you to be brought up on certain charges. So it isn't just that a dude decides he's going to be a girl today, and it isn't just that he could even join the girls' basketball team or volleyball team. It's also that if you actually express distaste or disagreement about that, there could be various kinds of penalties extracted as well.
This is
that's not in the California bill, but it is one that they're talking about now in Massachusetts.
This kind of thing, folks, is where sexual anarchy leads you. Mm-hmm. And it is. This is where this kind of confusion leads you when people don't believe in moral absolutes. Yeah. And that's what's happened. That's what is happening. And you get into the land of insanity. And that's what Kirby's just described.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Tim and Kirby. How do you explain this division that we have that you guys are talking about here in the United States? And you're alluding to exactly what is going on in our country, Tim.
Well, and I think we are just so divided because of that. I mean, I think, Tim, you have talked about this before. We have some states that want same-sex marriage, and other states that have an amendment that they've added to their state constitution, which says that no marriage is between one man and one woman. Of course, the case out of California, which was Proposition 8, went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, in its inscrutable wisdom, decided that no, that couldn't be. But nevertheless, this is where we find ourselves right now. And when people say, we need to get out of the culture war battle, no, we're in the middle of a culture war battle, whether we want to participate or not. That war is taking place right around us.
Kirby, one more question regarding the abortion ban bill after 5 months in Texas. That was signed by Governor Perry. There was a controversy that made national news there, about that. But what the legislature and what the governor have said is, listen, of course, Governor Perry's pro-life from the moment of conception. He's made that clear over his career if it were up to him. But they're trying to deal with the legal parameters of Roe versus Wade, and yet still do something to protect as many human lives as possible. And what the legislature and the governor have said in Texas is, look, after 20 weeks, the fetus can feel pain. Right. It's recognizable on an ultrasound as a human being. It obviously has a heartbeat. And so if you can't make up your mind whether to abort this unborn baby up to 20 months, we, the state of Texas, are going to say it at that point deserves the protection of the law. And do you think that's going to hold up? First of all, did I describe what happened in Texas correctly, number one? And secondly, any thoughts on the chances of that being upheld in the courts?
Well, again, I think it's clear that you're going to have groups like Planned Parenthood and others going to go judge shopping and find a judge to issue an injunction. But going all the way back to 1973, the Supreme Court ruled that there could be a compelling state interest after the time of viability, which has changed since 1973. Now we have younger and younger children in the womb that we can say. But after viability, there could be an opportunity for states to ban or restrict abortion. And that's why you've had so many states over the years that have banned third trimester abortions. They're just simply moving it now to the 5th month or the 20th week based upon that evidence. So I think this, if it went all the way to the Supreme Court, could stand constitutional muster, but with the individuals that President Obama has put on the court, and even some of the ones that President Clinton put on the court, maybe it would go the other way. But if you use the existing law, it works within those parameters. And we've had, Tim and John, over the last 2 years, hundreds of laws passed at state legislatures restricting abortion one way or another, whether it's informed consent, a 24-hour waiting period, sonogram bills, these that would ban abortions after the 20th week. And most of those eventually are upheld simply because they're working within the original decision that came down of Roe versus Wade in 1973. But I think you're also alluding to something else. I know we're getting close to a break, but in Texas we had something else that I've been speaking to, and that is when they were going to vote on this one time, there was a woman by the name of Wendy, and Wendy Davis was actually pro-choice and engaged in a real filibuster, not these fake filibusters, but one where you have to stand the whole time and speak and address the topic. Well, her filibuster finally ran out. They were going to try to get a vote, but by that time all sorts of pro-choice people had come into the Senate chamber there and shouted so much that they prevented a vote, and the actual timing of the vote took place after midnight. And since this time, we've seen all sorts of examples of these kind of rowdy people coming into the chambers. The last time they came in with all sorts of things that were confiscated from them, various kinds
in
of
Austin at the State House, you mean?
In Austin, the State House. And it looked a lot like what happened in Madison, Wisconsin 2 years ago. And this is a concern I have, Tim and John, that we're getting to a point now where you're starting to see more and more activist, angry people storm into Madison, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, into the chambers, into the governor's...
Why are they always liberals?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. Or whether it's WTO or, breaking windows of Starbucks or whatever. But we've got to make sure that we really emphasize the importance of the rule of law, because we're starting to see almost mob rule taking over some of these legislative chambers. And I think this is a good example, again, of that anarchy. You talked a minute ago about sexual anarchy. Well, we have sort of political anarchy right now, and we should be very concerned about the evidence of mob rule that's showing up in a lot of these legislatures.
Yeah. Well, I applaud Governor Perry and the legislature of Texas for doing this. I hope other states will follow suit and, do the 20-week protection of human life after 20 weeks. Again, folks, this is not compromising our conviction that life should be protected from conception. I think that's the traditional Christian teaching of across the board, and also it is something that we AFA and AFR have been for as Kirby and point of view, and so we're all pro-life from conception. We understand that, but what you're trying to do here is incrementally protect human life with the reality of Roe versus Wade, from 1973 that we're having to deal with. So keep working, keep praying for the day that all human life is protected. But, as long as Roe versus Wade is sitting there, you have to contend with it and deal with that reality. And so that's what pro-lifers are trying to do, is use incrementalism, if you will, and science and technology advances to promote human life, and that's what happened in Texas. When we get back, more topics to cover with our good friend Kirby Anderson. Stay with us.